founder and CEO of Spark, and I am here doing an interview this morning with Authority Magazine and our series on the 5 lifestyle habits that support cognitive well-being. And I have the pleasure of having Nadia Murdock with me. Nadia is a mindset and movement coach, a peak performance mentor, and a confidence catalyst. She leads transformative change in both the mindset and movement health space. With a decade of expertise and guided by train your mind, change your body, and love yourself philosophies, she empowers entrepreneurial women through the ultimate vitality method. She is also on the expert panel at Garage Gym Reviews. Hi, Nadia. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, Shawna, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So give me an idea of how you got started in the health and movement space that you're in now.
Sure, it's been a journey. I went away to college. I gained freshman 15 times 3. Didn't really understand who I was at that time and really turned to food. After that, transferred, found a love for fitness. And what got me in the gym is not what kept me there, right? What got me there was to lose weight, fit a certain diet culture model. But what I found was inner strength, community, and a love for health, right? My mother is a retired nurse. Health was always a big topic in our home. And we were always taught, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And I really started to embody that. Never thought I could make it a career. Always thought it'd be just a passion project. But the more I found happiness doing it, the more I led towards that. And so then I launched my company, Nadia Murdock Fit, really focusing more on the physical aspect. But with my degree in psychology, realized I was marrying all of the benefits of mental health too in my fitness classes, causing waitlisted classes. And I was like, I think I'm on to something here. And so then that started the train your mind, change your body philosophy. And it's not about changing your body to fit a mold or societal needs. It's about knowing that you have inner strength inside and out. And I really wanted to drive that message home because a lot of people weren't getting that messaging in magazines, social media, or other classes they were taking. And then through that experience, I like to say to my clients, as I evolved, my company evolved. And that's exactly what happened. I got certified in cognitive behavioral therapy in 2020 and started to marry that into my coaching. And that led to one-on-one mindset coaching married with movement, because the mind and body connection is a powerful connection. And I really wanted my clients to understand that it's not just some fluff that's out there, it's real and can really help you take ownership of your health.
Yeah, I love that. As you and I kind of discussed before this, cognitive, strength and awareness and brain health and all those things are so near and dear to me because I lost my father to Alzheimer's and dementia at a very young age. He was 62 when he was diagnosed. But he was able to live 12 years because he was able to make the changes, the lifestyle changes that he needed to make. And
Right.
So that's why I was really excited to be able to talk to you today about these things, because I think the more people know how they can help themselves, the better off you'll be, especially at a younger age. And exercise is just a huge part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed in your article that you mentioned that you were an author. Can you tell me a little bit about your book?
I love that you brought that up. Sometimes I even forget, yes, I am an author. I wrote it at a time where I felt I really wanted to share my story. Again, just piggybacking on what I said before, the importance of taking ownership of your health. And so You Can Have It All really embodies some of the articles that I wrote when I used to write for an outlet called examiner.com. And I was interviewing top people in the fitness field, Bob Harper, Billy Blanks, and some other people in high-end studios in the city, New York City. And I was getting so much knowledge. And Shawna, you really realize community, right? When you're looking to shift your mindset, shift your health, shift anything, be around the people that inspire you to be the version of the person you want to be. And I really wanted to convey that through my book and letting people know that it's possible. So You Can Have It All was the fitness edition. It's a compilation of a lot of the interviews that I did and the go-to fitness moves that I relied on when I was trying to change myself inside and out.
All right. I can't wait to read that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so tell me, let's dive into this article that you did for Authority Magazine. So, give me an idea of what your favorite lifestyle tips are for people who want to protect their cognitive well being.
First and foremost, exercise. I've been through a lot, like most of us have, and you can either dwell in it or you can feel your feelings and make a change. And I find that fitness has always been my best friend. I had open heart surgery at age 17. I had a thyroidectomy in 2022. I was a partial and then the full in 2022. I had a high risk pregnancy in 2020. All of these things, if I didn't have movement in my back pocket, I would have been a different person. And so I really think that is essential to everyone's health. And it's not about, again, like I mentioned to you before, fitting into a dress size or, looking a certain way. It's about empowering your health because movement goes surpast the exercise, right? Your body's still working for you. Our bodies are magical when you really think about what our bodies do. Like right now, we're breathing on our own. I don't think we take a moment to do that. And I feel like exercise allows you to see the miracle of your body, be present, appreciate it, and also understand your body, right? When something's wrong. Because the more you're doing that, the more you're able to say, this doesn't feel right, or I don't feel like I have the same motivation, or why do I have this stiffness in my neck? You're more connected to how you feel, and there you can be more in charge of your journey.
Wow. Okay, is there any kind of exercise that you recommend for cognitive well being?
Cardio is great. Getting outside is great. I just saw a quick interview with someone that says if you go outside and walk amongst trees, the phytonutrients, I think, that the trees release help that you inhale help to fight off cancer cells. They embody or ignite the fighting cells in your body. And no one would think that, like, oh, I'll just go on a treadmill. Switch it up, go outside, walk. The power of walking is so huge. You do not have to go and do what's trending. Definitely do what you enjoy. So what I enjoy may not be what you enjoy, but I think the important thing is just that you're moving your body.
Okay, great.
Also, hold on,
Yeah.
strength training.
Yeah.
Strength training. So many of us ignore this. Lifting weights is huge. And for the women who are from a certain era where I don't want to be bulky or I don't want to look like a man, it can't happen. You have the muscles in your body. There's no way that you can look bigger than your body will allow. Muscle strength is so key for how your body operates as you age.
I love that you brought that up. Of course, I was going to ask you about it. I recently just bought one of those weighted vests that I can wear while I'm walking. So then I get the 1-2 benefit of that. So I'm looking forward.
So smart.
I'm looking forward to trying that out once it gets a little bit cooler outside. It's a little bit hot right now to wear the weighted vest around. Yeah, or I have to go early in the morning.
Yeah, or go on a hike, add that incline, just do something different. Also, switching up what you do is really great for your mind, right? I always say, like, if you're walking, don't walk the same way all the time. Walk a different path. You put on the weighted vest, that's something different. Now your body's challenged is to understand how you feel. Any way you can create new neural pathways in your brain with these simple little changes, that is a preventative way to protect your health.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think even going to a new grocery store or driving a new way to work or, walking a new neighborhood, anything like that. I agree with you. You switch it up and the brain has to work just a little bit harder to problem solve and remember and build, like you said, these new neural pathways. So I think that's really, really great advice.
Yeah.
What about nutrition? Is there anything that you recommend as far as nutrition for cognitive health?
Yes. Inflammation is a huge thing in our society, and sometimes we're living with inflamed bodies and we don't even know it because of all the things we're just used to eating. So, same thing, like I said before, I actually didn't say this, we don't know what we don't know. And so, I think just trying to understand nutrition, it's not about a diet. And I think cognitive behavioral therapy, it's like reframing how you see it, right? It's not about being deprived. Right? It's about eating food that makes you feel good, makes you feel well. And it's not about taking away the things you don't love. And so if you can start to reframe it that way, you can approach nutrition in a new way. For me, again, I think it's a case by case thing. And I think another thing that deters people from exploring nutrition is because they feel like they have to do it how someone else does. And I feel like you should find what works for you. For me, I know that when I don't eat meat, I feel weak, right? Like I'm O positive. I mean, my blood type is O positive. So like I know that I need meat, right? Maybe you don't. So then you find other things. It's like dating yourself and understanding what you need. And it can be fun, right? There's that reframe. Something else to do. No, it's exciting. It's exciting to learn what you can do to make yourself feel good, right? How many of us can really say we feel good? So I think when it comes to nutrition, the basics, leafy greens, making sure you're hydrated. I read somewhere that just basic water isn't enough. You need to be making sure you get enough electrolytes, because dehydration, you can be dehydrated all the time and not even know it and just be used to it. So, a lot of us drink a lot of caffeine. So watching that caffeine intake. However, there are studies that say green tea and coffee are good for brain health. So I think anything you do, if I could give a suggestion, is in moderation and also understanding how it feels in your body.
Yeah, you need to date yourself. I love that you just said that. That's really important. We talk about self-care, but I always say that self-care is not manicures and bubble baths. I mean, it can
No,
be,
I
but
said that.
it's so much deeper than that. It's
Yes.
really showing up for yourself. So as a sleep expert, I'm constantly teaching women how to show up and prioritize their sleep in their life. And
Love
nutrition is
that.
one of the tools, and exercise is one of the tools, and all of these tools, right? It's like we have to show up every day. And sometimes it's hard. We're busy. We have
Right.
families, we have work, we have responsibilities. We might be caring for ailing parents, and to put yourself on the priority list and put
Right.
your needs on the priority list can be really, really challenging. But I
Yeah.
love that you really help empower and encourage, especially women, to make the time, even if it's 20-30 minutes a day, to show up for consistent exercise, to get out in nature, to breathe, to use some sort of movement for them, not only as a stress reliever, but also as a way to help support their brain health.
And Shawna, I like how you said, I didn't know the depth of your sleep education coaching. And I think for me, that's been a struggle, right? I have two young boys, 3 and 7,
Hmm.
but I asked myself, how do I feel when I get X amount of sleep versus when I get a good amount of sleep? And I think when stop taking the pause to ask yourself questions can help you start to prioritize, right? Like I feel 100% when I get 8 hours. I feel so much better when I'm hydrated. And I don't think people are pausing, right? They're just go, 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 go. Another cup of coffee, take an Advil, putting the band-aids on it, but they're not pausing. So I love that you're invoking the power of sleep because I think it's seriously overlooked and it's so essential for brain health.
Yeah, well, they're all essential for brain health, right?
Yeah.
And like we talked about before this interview, the statistics on the Alzheimer's Association website say that by 2030, more women will be diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia than breast cancer. So it's going to be the number one killer of women, and especially in the United States. And so I think the more knowledge is power, right? And sharing, like I said, building these tools in the toolkit and sharing this information is so important for cognitive well-being, and just allowing women to understand that if there was a pill that did everything for your body that exercise does, it would be the number one seller, but it
Yeah.
doesn't exist. So you actually have to get up every day and be committed and move your body. And so I love
Mhm.
that there's people like you in the world that are really, really trying to inspire others to do this. So give me an idea too. There were two other things that you mentioned in your article that you felt were really great for people, tools, habits to be able to use for, really improving their cognitive abilities. One of them was essential oils, which I thought was really fascinating, because we use those with my dad when he was kind of in the late stages of Alzheimer's, and it was really, really helpful to diffuse those. We really
Yeah.
found that there was a big difference in his memory and his recall and his concentration when we did that. So I'd love for you to touch on that. And also
Yeah.
the adult coloring books. I want to hear about your story about that.
Yeah, sure. Each one of them has a story. So for me, essential oils, I really discovered when I was trying to get pregnant with my first son. Um, I've always not been the naturalist to a certain extent. As I mentioned, my mom is a retired nurse. She's always like always encouraged, if you can do it naturally, that's the way to go. So I went to a conference and they were sharing all these essential oils, and a friend came up with a concoction that's supposed to help with ovulation. And so I was like, sure, why not? And I used it and it worked. And so then it got me curious. I'm sure other things that I was doing worked too, but it's all like a recipe, right? Like just like our lives, sleep, exercise, hydration, it's a recipe. So like if you can add more things to your, pantry of well-being, why not? So it got me curious. Peppermint is great for headaches. Lavender is great for relaxation. Clary sage is good for hormonal balance. Hormones are huge for women, and it creates, when your hormones are unbalanced, many things happen, but it heightens anxiety, and that puts pressure on your mental well-being, which puts pressure on your stress, and like la 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 la, right? So if you can find ways, it's so simple, like literally, it's right here on my desk. Like if you can find ways to have it there and present and remind you to take these little steps towards a preventative avenue towards health, it's so great. And I think it's also, Shawna, I'd like to mention, when you're navigating and dating yourself, this opens up your mindset, right? You can have a very closed mindset or you can have an open mindset. And just having a conversation with someone that you normally wouldn't, that knows about essential oils or crystals or deep breathing. And then you can discover a new part of you, which creates calm and creates a new practice, which can help create better health for your brain.
Yeah. And it's just added learning, right? It's just, again,
Added
it's
learning.
building those neural pathways, right?
Exactly. And the coloring books, I went to a conference and I said coloring books, and I was like, what is the power of this? And again, it's just, I find it to be a very calming experience. I feel it allows us to slow down, which many of us don't know how to do. It sparks the creative aspects of our brain. It allows us to be present. And I think it's just another practice. Some people can't meditate. So I feel like I like to give options for different things that can offer similar benefits. And I think the adult coloring books does just that. You can bring it with you. It's inexpensive. You can have it everywhere. And so I feel like having these little things in your desk drawer, in your purse, in your gym bag that you can rely on is a great way to stay consistent. Consistency is key. So I think that those are great options.
Yeah, I love this. That was great advice. Thank you so much. All right. Well, the final question I had, and you mentioned in your article, was about genetic testing. Do you think that people should have genetic testing to find out about, any kind of cognitive issues they might have, so that, or are in their family or are in their genes, so that they can help mitigate that with other choices?
Yes, I definitely feel like there's a power in knowing. I do know that there's certain hurdles for certain people. Maybe it's not covered by insurance or it's not affordable. So, genetic testing, if you can afford it and it's in your wheelhouse, I definitely think you should do it, because it's better to know than not know. And with that, you can start making certain shifts in your current practices that can benefit you in the long run. And also, if you can't afford it, start having conversations with family members, right? Maybe like start to learn about your family history, and then that can be another avenue that opens up a door towards more learning, right? About who you are. A lot of families don't talk about stuff like that until the problem occurs, And so just understanding you are your project, right? Just like you would prepare for anything else, you would do the research. Do the research for yourself so that you can be a better version of you.
Yeah, you wouldn't just date anybody, right?
No.
And you've got to date yourself. I love that you said that. So,
Yeah.
showing up for yourself is making sure that you have knowledge about your body and your family history and your ancestry and those things, so that you can use that knowledge as power to make better choices in your daily life.
Yes, 100%, 100%. It's a beautiful thing to be empowered so that you can advocate for yourself, right? You can't advocate from a place of not knowing. So start the research, open up the doors, and it may be scary, right? But it's also empowering. If you can shift it to the excitement, to being empowered, then now you're in charge. And I think it's a wonderful thing that more people should practice.
Yeah, that's wonderful, Nadia. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. I really enjoyed our conversation. And again, I'm Shawna Robbins with Third Spark, and this has been an interview for Authority Magazine.